Welcome to Green Beans, where two boys dressed in green sit on beans and chat about life. I'm your host, Jared, and here with me is my brother and co-host, Ethan.
Hello.
And yeah, we're back with episode 3 of Green Beans here. If you're watching the video version, you can see I'm looking pretty swag with a backwards hat today.
Very dapper.
Yeah. And yeah, just want to point something out before we get into this episode. In the last episode, I said the podcast is not available on Apple Podcasts. It is now, so you should be able to watch it pretty much anywhere you listen to podcasts and on the Green Beans YouTube channel.
Sweet.
So, yeah, I guess we can just jump right into today's episode. We're going to be, call it a segment, if you will, starting a new thing where every episode if anything exciting or worth note happened since the last episode in our lives, we're going to chat about it. So, yeah, over the past week, some stuff happened in my life. My school had their graduation for all the seniors, and I went to that as a member of the band, so I got to play some music at graduation.
Awesome, yeah, and so you were not graduating.
No, yeah. I just finished my sophomore year of high school, so not graduating, but I knew a lot of people graduating, so I'm glad I got to go. It was outdoors this year because of COVID, but it was actually a really nice day out. It was sunny, so can't complain about that.
And how long was it? Was it like typical graduation, like several hours?
It was shorter than I expected it to be. It started at 10 in the morning and ended at 11:30. So it was like an hour and a half. It's not too bad. All the student speakers did a great job, and yeah, it wasn't too bad. The longest part, of course, was reading all the names.
Yeah.
It always is, I'm sure. But yeah, so I was playing bass clarinet in that band, and we started out by playing Pomp and Circumstance, so that's the song that I think is pretty typical for most graduations. It goes like da 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 da.
But did you sing the lyrics to that song?
No, I don't know. Do we need to sing the lyrics so our viewers can know the lyrics?
I mean, you have a good voice. My voice is kind of...
All right, here are the very official lyrics to Pomp and Circumstance.
Yes.
You're about to be amazed.
They are 100% legit, real lyrics, I swear.
All right. My turtle swims sideways. Your turtle swims upside down. My turtle swims sideways. Your turtle is dead.
And those are the lyrics to Pomp and Circumstance.
Those are the very legit, real lyrics of the song. Definitely not a thing that we used to do at Boy Scout and Cub Scout camps.
They're totally unrelated.
Yeah.
Very much so.
So you're welcome for that beautiful song. But yeah, so we played Pomp and Circumstance as all of the seniors who were graduating were walking out and taking their seats. And there's a lot of seniors, and so they have to walk out, and it takes a long time. And the band has to play Pomp and Circumstance just over and over until everybody's sitting down. Because if we got to by the time we get to the end of the song, only like a certain number of people are sitting. Everybody's not sitting yet. So we just repeat the song over and over, repeat a specific section until everybody's sitting down, and then we wrap it up. Beforehand, everybody in the band made like guesses to how many times we were going to repeat it. Most people guessed like 4 or 5, but we needed to repeat it 7 times.
That sounds awful.
It was, especially with my part as a bass clarinet, which is a like lower instrument, and my part is like just really boring quarter notes for most of the song.
So you're just going bup, bup, bup. Or I actually, what's the tempo?
It's pretty slow. That's pretty accurate.
Oh, okay.
And yeah, my part was super boring, and my mouth hurt very much by the end of it for playing that for so long. But overall wasn't too bad. And then at the end, all the seniors like move their tassel on their hat from one side to the other, and then they all like throw their caps up in the air and like, hooray, we graduated.
Yeah.
And then at the end of the ceremony, when that happened, as their caps were at the peak of their height in the air after they threw them, then we started playing a song called Jungle Boogie, which I know you're familiar with.
Fantastic song. It's excellent. I would recommend checking it out if you have time. It's called Jungle Boogie.
Yeah, so we played that at the end, and we played that in another song called Can't Turn You Loose, and we just repeated each of those 2 times as everybody was making their way out of there and leaving.
Awesome, yeah. I know for my graduation, which was, COVID graduation, so it was different.
Because you graduated at the end of, or like in June of 2020.
Yeah. But like, I was told to walk pretty slow, and I bet the seniors graduating this year were also told to walk pretty slow.
I don't know if they were told that, but they were walking slow.
Yeah, because like, if everyone's just rushing through it, like it seems a little more dramatic, I guess, to have it have them walk slow. Yeah. People can take pictures and everything, so I guess it's just kind of nicer in a way. Not for you, of course, but because you had to play a ton.
Yeah, definitely playing Pomp and Circumstance 7 times repeated is not enjoyable, and I have to do it again next year because I'll be a junior next year and I'll have to play in that band again.
But then after that, you'll finally be a senior. And
then I just have to listen to it. But yeah, so that's something that happened. That was this past weekend. What about you? Anything exciting happened this week for you?
Yeah. So I got to play some paintball.
That's fun.
For the first time in 6 years. And yeah, I mean, it was your typical paintball experience. I went with one of my college buddies, and so we got there as a walk-in, which now paintball's open, because as a sport, you can't, everyone's distance, you're not supposed to really shoot anyone from at least 20 feet away, which, if you can do your math, 20 is greater than 6.
That is true.
So everyone's social distance during paintball.
Yeah, I guess.
And you're wearing a paintball mask, which it has holes in it so you can breathe, so it's not great for keeping COVID out. But yeah, so
yeah, I hadn't even thought of that. Paintball is just naturally a pretty COVID safe activity.
The highest risk spot you would be when you're refilling your gun.
Yeah, between games.
Mm-hmm. But other than that, yeah, it's a pretty COVID-safe game. So we walked on. We had to wait a little bit for other people to get there. But then we got to play with several groups of people. And we did this for 4 hours. And it was an 80-degree day. And I bought some water. My friend did not. And he was very dehydrated by the end. Spending 4 hours in the sun, crouching behind a barricade.
Yeah, I bet.
That's tiring.
Yeah, I've played paintball twice, and it's been a few years since I have, and both times was not 4 hours. They weren't 4 hours. We played for maybe 2.
Yeah, I mean, we bought 1,000 or so paintballs, and we were gonna use them. So, and we got through most of them too. But yeah, that was basically what I did. I got shot a few places. I got hit in the neck, which felt like someone punching me in the face. And I was worried it's gonna bruise up and look like a hickey. And I was
when you came home, it definitely looked like you had a hickey.
I got hit with a paintball, I swear.
Yeah, guys, it was a paintball. Wink, wink.
No, it was paintball, I swear.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that actually hurt quite a bit. But other times I got shot, they weren't too bad. I was going against some younger kids, and usually if you're older, you're better than the younger kids. Not always, but and I was blasting little kids, and I did not feel bad at all.
That's awful.
It was kind of fun though, because they were easy targets. They would peek up and be like boo boo, and then They're out.
That's so mean. I can't imagine because like we have a younger brother who's 7 years old.
Yeah.
And I can't like if he got hit by a paintball like.
Well, okay, so of course these kids they're older than 7. My guess would be around like 12 or 13.
Oh, okay. I
No,
thought
they're
you meant,
not
like,
little
little kids.
No, there was one little girl who was pretty little, and she was dirty. She was absolutely filthy at paintball. It was insane.
She was just destroying everybody.
Yeah, like since she's so small, she can hide really well.
Oh, that's a good point.
And then she just like no one sees her, and then she's like, "Papa."
That's pretty funny.
Yeah. But yeah, I was blasting 12 to 13-year-olds, and I did end up shooting a guy pretty close, and I felt really bad about it because, you know, he was a younger guy, and I shot him a few times when I was probably too close, and yeah, I made sure I apologized and everything, but I felt kind of bad about that.
Yeah, when I played a few years ago, my friend's dad shot me from like, I don't know, like 5 feet away in the leg. It was very painful.
Yeah, I was wearing shorts during it because,
That's a bad idea.
I mean, I didn't really care that much, but yeah, when a paintball hits bare skin, it can definitely break the skin. I had a few red and white paint.
Yeah.
Mixed with white paint mixed with blood. So, but you know, it's part of the game.
Yeah. So yeah, that's pretty cool. And then something else that happened this past week that I think we were both pretty interested in was something called E3.
Mm-hmm.
And it stands for Electronic Entertainment Expo, I believe. And it's this event that happens every year. It didn't happen last year. It got canceled because of COVID. Normally, it's an in-person event, like a big convention, but this year it was online only. And pretty much it's an event where lots of big video game companies like Xbox, Nintendo, Ubisoft, tons of big gaming companies have like live events where they announce new games and different projects that they're working on. And there's normally a lot of hype and excitement around E3. And yeah, definitely in our household we were feeling a lot of excitement for it.
Oh yeah, we're big gamers, so when E3 happens, we're like, yes, new video games.
Yeah, so the two events that I was most looking forward to was Xbox's event and Nintendo's event. And yeah, because with Xbox, we were expecting to see Halo Infinite.
That is my number one, the most excited for game. I've been waiting. What's that, like 6 years now? Because Halo 5 came out in 2015, and so now Halo Infinite or Halo 6 is the next one. So I'm most excited about that one.
Yeah, and that's an Xbox exclusive game. So I was also looking forward to that because I'm definitely not as big into Halo as you are, but I've played some of the games before and I've had fun with them. And so yeah, we were excited for Xbox's event because we thought they'd be announcing Halo and probably some other cool projects. And then Nintendo's event, I was really hyped for because I'm a big Nintendo fanboy. Like, I love Mario and The Legend of Zelda and like lots of like Nintendo's original games and like Pokemon.
Oh yeah.
So I was hoping that they would announce some stuff about Pokemon because there's 2 new Pokemon games coming out within the next year. And also one of my favorite video games of all time called The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. You've played it as well.
That is a very, very good game.
Yeah, it's an open world game. So much fun. And that came out in 2017. And then 2 years ago, I believe it was at E3 2019, Nintendo released a little teaser trailer and announcing that Breath of the Wild 2 was in development. And like everybody got so hyped because Breath of the Wild 1, the first one, was super popular and like it was really well received and tons of people loved it, and like us, it became one of my favorite games of all time. And so 2 years ago they announced that they were making a second one. And then that's it. They hadn't said anything about it in 2 years. And so we were really hoping to get some sort of information on Breath of the Wild 2 at the Nintendo event. So, yeah, to start out with the Xbox event, that That event was an hour and a half long, whereas the Nintendo event was only 40 minutes.
Oh, wow.
So the Xbox event was quite a bit longer, and it was amazing. Like, it was so hype. They announced game after game after game. In the hour and a half event, they announced 30 games, which is like
Wow.
crazy. Like, compared to any of the other companies' events, none of them announced that many games.
Yeah, and some of them were like brand new releases, like
Yeah.
first time seeing it, and some of them like we've known for
Yeah, some of them
a
were
while.
like sort of ports and sequels and stuff, but some of them were like brand new games that we had never heard of. And normally with these sort of events, like what companies will do a lot of the time is like they'll showcase like some cinematic trailer for a new game and then like have the developers of the game like talk about it for a little bit. But this was like the Xbox event was not like that at all. There was probably like under 5 minutes of talking in total in the entire event because they just went game after game after game, like just announcing things, just showing you what they've been working on and what's coming up, which was so exciting. And they announced some information about Halo Infinite, which we were both very excited about. And something that came as a huge surprise is that because there's with the Halo games, there's like a story element.
Yeah, there's a campaign which the Halo story I absolutely love. My first Halo game was Halo 5, and I played the campaign. I was like, wow, this is really cool. And then, but that one's considered like the worst campaign. So I went and got all the other games, played all those, and yeah, all the other games are way better. They're the very, very immerse story, very, very thought out, and just it's really a good story, and I really like it.
Yeah, and then in addition to like a story that you can play in the game, there's also like online multiplayer elements.
Yeah.
And during the Xbox event at E3, they announced that the multiplayer for Halo Infinite is going to be free to play.
Yeah, that's been like a new trend for a lot of new video games. Like multiplayer's just free to play, and they make their money through cosmetics.
Yeah, like people buying like things in games like skins and
Yeah, like that's very common in like games like Fortnite or most battle royale esque games where like there's like 100 or so players and they all drop in and try to kill each other. That type of thing. That's very common with those types of games. But there are other games that make their money off of microtransactions, which I won't get into it because that's kind of controversial, and I don't think many games do it anymore. But yeah, a lot of games are starting to go free to play, which, I mean, that's great news for us because like
yeah,
the big game is just free for anyone. Like
yeah, which is like you still have to like pay. I assume it'll be $60. That's a pretty standard price for like big company games.
Yeah.
But so if you still want to play like the story part of the game, you still have to buy that. But if you just want to like play online with your friends, that's going to be completely free. You don't have to buy the game, which is super cool. They've like that hasn't been a thing with Halo before, I don't think.
Yeah, no, it hasn't. Halo is, and with the new Halo, I know they're like every Halo game they try to like add new stuff, obviously. But yeah, a lot of video games recently have been taking a different path. I know, like with Call of Duty, like they have a free battle royale, and like that's not something they've done in Call of Duty ever. So a lot of games are taking kind of this different route.
Yeah,
Which honestly I like
Yes,
because don't have to pay money.
So yeah, it's cheaper for us consumers, and it's also a lot more accessible to more people. And then so yeah, that was the Xbox event. They announced lots of other things, but we could go on and on about all the things they announced.
Oh yeah, there's so many different things.
Yeah, I mean the Halo announcements were the most exciting for us, I think.
Yeah.
And then the other event that I was most excited for was Nintendo.
Nintendo, yeah.
And the event, like, their event was 40 minutes, so it was quite a bit shorter than the Xbox event. But in the first, 30 minutes of it, not much I really cared about. Like, it's cool stuff, but not any games that I'm gonna play, probably. But then, at the end of the event, they announced a new trailer for Breath of the Wild 2.
Yes, yeah, I remember watching that. That was really very, Really, really
Yeah,
cool.
watching that live was so awesome. But they faked you out during the actual live event because they had like the main guy, I forget his name, but the main guy who's like created like Legend of Zelda and is like working on making the second game, and he like came on screen and was like, "All right, I know you guys want some Zelda news, so here you go. And this is going to be the last announcement of the event." And then it showed a trailer for a DLC, which is stands for downloadable content. It's like additional stuff for an already existing game that you can buy.
Mm-hmm.
And they showed an announcement for more DLC for this other Zelda game that isn't Breath of the Wild called Age of Calamity. And I thought like that was the end of the event. And I was like, no, we're not getting Breath of the Wild. What? And I was like, I was mad. I was just watching that in shock. And then once that ended, they added the Breath of the Wild 2 trailer, and I was so hyped. I was surprised because I was really hoping we would get Breath of the Wild 2 announcements, and then I thought we weren't, and then we did, and it was amazing. I was so happy watching that.
Yeah, and like with the first trailer, or the first little snippet, it just said in development. We had no idea when.
Yeah,
it was
the one from
expected.
2019 didn't give us a lot of information.
But now we got a little bit more, and it's coming 2022.
Yeah, which
Narrows it down a little bit, but 2022 is a
yeah,
full
I'd
year.
say it's more likely, since they didn't specify when in the year, it's more likely that it'll be towards the end of the year.
Yeah, a very common time for games to come out is near the holidays. It makes sense for marketing. So I know Halo is coming
Yeah.
out in like November or something. So
Yeah, they just said holiday 2021.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it's gonna come out sometime during the holidays. People can get it for Christmas, or Hanukkah or whatever you celebrate. So
yeah, the holiday times in the winter are definitely a very popular time for games to be released because they sell really well at those times. So
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if it's around that time in 2022 that Breath of the Wild 2 comes out.
although one of the new Pokemon games is coming out like January.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, they didn't announce anything during the Nintendo event at E3 about Pokemon, which I was a little disappointed about. But yeah, they have 2 new games coming out. They have a remake of the Gen 4 Pokemon games, which are Diamond and Pearl.
Yeah.
And they remade those for Nintendo Switch, and they like redid the graphics and stuff. And that's coming out in November. And then they have like a brand new Pokemon game that's nothing like any other Pokemon game has ever been before, because I think it's going to be like open world, and it's called Pokemon Legends Arceus.
Yeah, and that
One's coming out in January.
That one also takes place like in the past,
Yeah.
a long time ago.
Yeah, the like story of that game takes place a long time before any of the other Pokemon games that we've played. So yeah, though that's coming out. Those 2 games are coming out in pretty quick succession, which is very unusual for Nintendo to do. But I'm excited for it.
Yeah, I definitely want to play. I mean, I'd like to play both. They both seem pretty cool.
Yeah, and then yeah, I think
And that was pretty much all that we cared about during E3. I mean, obviously there were probably over, I don't know how many games, but tens, maybe even 100. I don't know. But there were so many different games announced over the multiple days E3 happened. And we didn't even cover Ubisoft's thing because we don't really care about a lot that they had. But yeah, they had an entire event. So there's a lot that happened there.
yeah, there were like 3 or 4 days of events, and
So now
yeah.
all us gamers are really excited for all the different video games coming out.
Yeah.
And so now we're gonna shift over to a different topic now because that's kind of all we wanted to share about E3, what we're excited about. So we kind of want to talk a little bit about our job because obviously if we want video games, we need to pay for them. So we need to have a job to pay for video games, of course, because that's the only thing we buy with our money. So we both work at the same restaurant. It's called Three Brothers Pizza. They make good pizza. It's fantastic. Um, and Jared works as a dishwasher.
Yep.
I work as a delivery driver. Um, and yeah, so I started as a dishwasher when I was your age, when I was 16. And then once I turned 18, I could become a driver. So I started that relatively recently when I got back from school. And you started actually when you were 15, right?
Yeah, I started when I was 15. I didn't even have my license when I started yet. Just because I wanted to get because, like you said, you had been working there as a dishwasher for a while, but then you had to stop working there temporarily so you could go to college because you didn't have like a car or anything at college, and there were strict COVID rules this past year.
And also, I didn't really know like how college was going to be, and I didn't want to like work and then realize that I have so much schoolwork. That it was...
So you weren't able to work during your first year of college, and so I thought, I'll be getting my license soon. I'm gonna need a job. There is gonna be a dishwasher opening at Three Brothers conveniently, and I happen to know the person, and so. Yeah, I applied to just pretty much take your job as dishwasher.
Yeah.
And yeah, I got accepted. I don't know if that's the right words, but I got the job. And then I started working there I think it was September of 2020. So I've been working there for like 9 months now, I think. And yeah.
Sweet, yeah. So as I mentioned before, I recently started as a driver.
Yeah, once you came back from college, because you couldn't come back as a dishwasher because somebody
took my job.
Somebody took his job.
I wonder who that could be. So, yeah, I started doing deliveries, and so it was weird because like I knew everyone there besides like a few new people that started working there, but basically I knew most of the people there. But it was also kind of like a first day because it was my first day driving. I was doing different stuff. So, yeah, I still had to kind of be taught and how to do it, how to do deliveries. And, of course, my first few I didn't do everything right. I forgot a few orders, which sucks because then you have to go back, pick it up, and return it. And it just takes more time. So yeah, but like with every day that I'm doing it, I'm learning more and more on how to do it properly. And we're doing contact delivery, so like we give them the pizza, which yeah, at this point like I think that's okay. Like I have to wear a mask while doing it.
And the COVID, like I believe Vermont has the best like COVID cases and vaccination numbers out of any state.
Best COVID cases is low COVID cases.
Yeah, that's what I meant. Not like, dude, we're beating all those states with those high COVID cases.
We got new high score.
No, I believe our 7-day average of COVID cases is like 7 new cases a day in the entire state.
Wow, that's...
Which is, I believe, lower than any other state.
And
then also,
progress.
Vermont has, I don't know what the exact number is, but like last week we hit 80% of eligible Vermonters have had at least one vaccine dose. So yeah, at least in Vermont, like things are really starting to turn back to normal and things are easing up.
Yeah, so when I go to strangers' houses,
you have a mask.
I
and
give them.
We're both fully vaccinated, so
yeah. Of course, I still try to keep my distance. Yeah, it's honestly, I haven't had too many problems. I had one guy who was kind of cranky. I delivered to, but other than that, I haven't had too many problems. I love delivering to houses that have little children. They're so cute. They're just like, they run up and they're like, hi, pizza man, how are you? I'm like, oh, hi, you're so adorable. You're like 2 years old.
That's cute.
They just love to talk to me too. Like every house I've gone to with kids, like they're like, what's your name? Like they just want to talk to me.
That's fun. So yeah, I guess I'll break down what I do. So I'm a dishwasher. So pretty much, and When I first started working there, I thought all I was going to be doing was washing dishes, but that is not true. I do a lot more than
There's
just
a lot
washing.
more to the job.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so every night when I get to work, I have my own like little room where there's the sinks, and then there's a big table where people will come and set dishes that are dirty for me to wash. So every night when I get to work, there's usually a pile waiting for me of dishes, and then I rinse the dishes in the sink. Sometimes that's a lot easier than others because oftentimes they have a bunch of like food stuck on them, and I have to like scrape it all off, and sometimes it's kind of nasty, but
Yeah, it's kind of a gross job depending on what kind of dishes you get.
yeah, sometimes you're lucky, sometimes you're really not. But then I rinse off the dishes, and then I put them on these racks. And then once I fill up a rack, I put it in this big like dishwashing machine. I don't know what it's called, but
It's called a dishwasher.
okay,
That's what it's
I
called.
put it in the dishwasher, and makes loud noises. And then when they're done, I pull them out, put them on a drying rack, and then eventually I have to go put everything away. Sometimes, when the delivery drivers aren't out doing deliveries, they'll help me like put stuff away. But for the most part, I have to put most things away. So
Yeah, the like washing the dishes is not very difficult, and you you learn it in like a night. But what takes some time is like figuring out where everything goes.
yeah,
'Cause
yeah.
There's a like everything's organized in a certain way, so you need to like learn where all the dishes go. Like some of them go to the kitchen, some of them go to the back of house, and like just figuring out where everything goes.
Yeah,
takes
'cause
us some time.
There's like a very big variety of dishes I have to wash. Some of them are like plastic containers, some of them are like metal trays, some of them are like pots. Like there's so many things that I have to wash, and they all go in different places. And I've been working there for I think I said like 9 months now, and I still don't know where everything goes. I think for
Yeah.
the most part by now I have it down and I can get most things, but still occasionally to this day I'll get a dish and I'll be like, don't know where that goes.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, like I've been working there for what, like two, oh, actually almost 3 years.
Yeah.
I took a year off, but
Yeah.
almost 3 years, and yeah, I mean, a few things have been reorganized since I was last there, but for the most part, I still remember where a lot of things are, and luckily everyone there is really nice, so you just ask.
But you see, the problem is, when I'm a lot better at it now, but when I first started working there, I felt super awkward and uncomfortable talking to people.
Yeah, I definitely felt the same way.
If there was something which, like, pretty much, when I first started working there, every single day, there were tons of things that I didn't know where they went. But I felt so awkward. I didn't want to, like, ask anybody because I didn't want to be a bother. And so I would just, like, try to look for things and get lost and like not know where to put stuff, and then I would have like a tray where I put all the things I didn't know where they went, and that filled up quick.
Yeah. I definitely like just starting out was just awful at it. Like I was super slow, but after a while you get used to it. Also, as a dishwasher, you have to sweep and mop the back rooms too.
Yeah.
At the end of the night, and like wipe down the tables. So, which there's two rooms you have to do, which they're not big, but so they don't take very long to do. But you have to move the tables out of the room into the other one.
Yeah.
And so whenever that happens, like it's kind of a process because then you have to like do everything while like the tables are in the other room. Like especially if they're in the dish room, like people can't put their dishes on your table because it's in the other room, so they have to like put it right in your sink.
Yeah. Also, a lot of the time there are really hot dishes because like people were cooking something with it and then they come and put it on my table for me to wash. And most people are like really helpful and good about it, and they'll like say like, "Hey Jared, this is hot." And I'll be like, "Yep, but thank you." So I know like normally if I have something hot, I take some tongs and then I grab whatever it is and I put it in a sink full of water because I have 3 sinks. And I fill one up with water and put hot things in there so they can cool down. But some people just like will leave a super hot dish on the table, and then I've like definitely gone for things and grabbed it and then like burned myself.
That's why you gotta do the hot test. You put your hand on it, and if you get burned, then it's hot.
Well, yeah, I've done that. And
yeah, just do it with every dish.
Yeah, well, not sure if that's the best strategy.
Maybe not. Yeah, usually what I would do was I'd put my hand over it, not touch it, see if I could feel the heat, and if I couldn't, I'd get a little bit of water and put that on, and if the water like sizzled, then that's hot, obviously. And like if it's just warm, the water won't sizzle, and I'm okay with just warm stuff, obviously. Or if you're not sure, you can also just grab it with a towel or tongs just to be safe.
Yeah.
But yeah, and something I didn't really realize this until rather recently, but the dishwasher, like, in a lot of workplaces, they're seen as like kind of at the bottom. You know, they're kind of like doing the tough stuff and just like they're not. And like anyone can be a dishwasher, but the dishwasher actually has a lot of power in the kitchen because they're always there and they know where all the dishes go. And so they usually, if they're doing their job well, will know what tasks need to be done to complete the night.
Yeah, yeah.
Because the drivers obviously have to help the dishwasher when they're not on deliveries. And they don't know what's going on because...
Yeah, they've been in and out.
They've been in and out. And yeah, I didn't really realize that until I started driving. Like, I'd come back, and if I was working the day you were working, I'm like, what needs to be done? And I'd be asking you. So you kind of have the power to, like, tell people what to do because you...
Yeah, I get to be a big boss.
Because you know what needs to be done.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and I guess, actually... I kind of knew that when I was a dishwasher because people would come in and ask me, and I was like, yeah, just go do this. But,
yeah, definitely all the time people ask me, like, oh, has this room been, like, swept yet? And, like, oh, has this been done yet? Do we need to do whatever? And I usually know the answer because I'm there the whole time.
Yeah, and you're just paying attention. And the kitchen staff, obviously, they're not included. They don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
They're just focusing on cooking and...
Yeah.
I mean, they clean their own stuff too, so that's nice. What's also really nice about our restaurant, at least for the employees, is we close pretty early compared to a lot of them. We close at 7. It used to be at 8. We used to close at 8, but then once COVID hit, we started closing at 7. And we just haven't gone back because it's
nicer. I hope we don't.
It's really nice to be done by 7 and actually have like part of your night left.
Yeah, because I don't show up, and depending on what days I'm working, I usually work on Thursdays and Saturdays, and on Thursdays I show up to work at 4 o'clock, and then on Saturdays I show up at 3. So I'm only working like 3 or 4 hour shifts twice a week, which, not that bad.
Yeah. I'm definitely working a lot more, but you recently got out of school, so you, if you wanted to...
Which I don't.
...could take more hours... If you desire to do so.
Yeah, here's the thing. Washing dishes isn't fun.
You don't say.
And like I know that like a high school job most likely isn't going to be fun most of the time, but like I don't enjoy washing dishes, and I'm fine with the amount of money I'm making working 2 days a week, so I don't want to have to work more than that.
When I was in high school, I definitely worked 2 days a week usually. I did a few 3-day weeks, but usually it was 2 days a week, which is totally manageable because, washing dishes isn't fun. It sucks. But, if you're only doing it a few times a week, then it's fine. If you're doing that like 5 times a week just for hours,
I'm sure that would be awful.
That would be painful.
Yeah.
I definitely had some nights where I was like, can this be over? I'm so ready to leave.
Yeah.
Well, when I'm driving, like, I don't feel that as much just because, like, the time goes by a lot faster because I'm driving everywhere. I go on, like, a half-hour delivery. I'm like, oh, look at that. Half hour went by.
Yeah. You see, I have this thing where, like, the more dishes I have to do, the quicker it feels like I'm done.
Because you're busy, like, doing
Yeah,
it.
so like sometimes I'll get to work and there'll only be a few dishes for me to do. It takes me like 20 minutes to get through them. And then like I just have a lot of downtime, which like is nice cuz I don't have to do anything, but it's also not great cuz I don't have anything to do.
Yeah, it's a bit counterintuitive in that way. 'Cause,
Yeah.
like, when you're so busy, you're so focused on it, and then you're just like, you're getting things done.
Yeah, the busiest nights always feel the quickest.
Yeah, but like, whenever there's nothing happening, you just stand there. It's boring.
Yeah.
It's so boring. Yeah, that, like, you wouldn't think it to be like that,
Yeah.
but
So yeah, I don't know if I'd rather have more or less dishes because they both have their pros and cons.
yeah, I think that a good balance between like having enough where you're busy but not having so much that you feel overwhelmed.
Yeah.
I think finding that balance, if you're lucky for that night to have a good amount of dishes, then
Yeah, definitely.
that's optimal.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that kind of wraps up talking about our jobs, and what we do. So I would like to share with you a little fantastic fossil fact.
Ooh, we got a name now.
It's either fantastic or fabulous. I like fabulous. Fabulous fossil fact.
That's better than epic dinosaur facts, or whatever we called it last time.
Alliteration is nice. So, yeah, this fact is a little simpler, I swear. And it's not necessarily just a dinosaur fact. It's kind of a geology fact.
Okay.
So, you know how the dinosaurs died 65 million years ago to a big asteroid?
Yep.
Well, that caused a mass extinction. A mass extinction is, a lot of things die. That's a mass extinction. And in total, in the history of Earth, there have been 5 mass extinctions.
Okay.
And the one that killed the dinosaurs was the 5th one. So there have been 4 before that. Isn't that crazy? That 4 mass extinctions of just, and like all types of life just dying at alarming rates.
Yeah.
There were 4 before the dinosaurs. And then dinosaurs hit another mass extinction. But yet, we are still alive today.
So there's one coming. We're about to all die. That's what it sounds like.
Yeah, I mean, we will one day. But yeah, so that's my fabulous fossil fact. There have been 5 mass extinctions in the history of life, or at least 5 main mass extinctions. I won't go into when they are, but the only one that I hope most people know is that the one that the dinosaurs died 65 million years ago.
Yeah.
So, there's your fabulous fossil fact.
All right.
With Ethan.
All right. I think that pretty much brings us to the end of this episode. So yeah, we had good talk. We talked a bit about video games and work and graduation paintball. And yeah, we went all over the place this episode. Had a good time. So yeah, tune in next week. Once again, we're uploading new episodes every Monday, and they should be available anywhere you listen to podcasts.
Yep. All right. Thank you very much for watching or listening. Hope to see you guys next week.
See ya.